So in Indonesia, they speak Indonesian, but they write using Latin letters because, reasons. But that, in fact, does not hold true for all of Indonesia, and that's our story today. In the vast Indonesian archipelago exists an island called, and give me a second here, Buton Island. Alter, was für eine Aussprache. And on that island, they speak a language called the Chia Chia language. And the Chia Chia language, like many indigenous languages in Indonesia, didn't have any formal writing system to write out their language. That is, until 2008, where for some reason, and get this, some Korean linguist showed up and said, you need Hangul. And then the Chia Chia were like, what is Hangul? And apparently that was all they needed, because right after that, they created a modified Hangul writing system just for the Chia Chia, and has been taught to them since 2008, which is undoubtedly really, really cool. But also begs the question, why Hangul? Because when I tried reading up on it, I got even more confusing. Because the main argument is that Hangul can better represent the sounds in Chia Chia. But as we've seen with countless other languages like Vietnamese or Turkish, the Latin script is extremely adaptable for novel sounds. And on top of that, the Chia Chia already have to learn the Latin script in school anyways for Indonesian. So would it not just be far simpler for the whole community just to use a modified Latin script instead? But it's there when I realized there's a much more logical reason for Hangul's adoption instead of Latin. And I think that's marketing. Because in our modern world, everything is given a value. And it may be hard for the Chia Chia to garner not only external interest in the needs of their people and language, but also internal interest with maybe its youth. So with the recent popularity of Korean culture, introducing Hangul to the Chia Chia is actually a really brilliant and smart way to garner interest in Chia Chia. Because whether it was intentional or not, that is the very reason why we're talking about them right now. Because it's novel and interesting. And it reminds us that some languages have it really, really tough. And there are still definitely hundreds of languages all across the world whose stories we might never know. Not because they don't exist, but simply because they didn't win the popularity contest. Even Chia Chia faced a ton of issues when establishing their Hangul program. For example, and brace yourselves for this quote, from a Korean university official who was involved in the Chia Chia Hangul program. And I quote, "What made the education process more difficult was cultural differences between the Korean teacher and the students, on which I will not go into details because I don't want to offend the Chia Chia tribe." Like, what the heck? That is just one example. We could only speculate what other challenges or maybe prejudice they had to and still face internally. But despite adversity, they've continued to push on with the project for years now, for the sake of their language, their culture, and their identity. So, the next time you write something out in your language, think about the people like the modern Chia Chia who helped give your language the voice it has, on not only your lips, but also in your hands. Thanks for watching. And before I go, nothing I'm about to say is sponsored by the way, but if you want to help support language communities just like the Chia Chia, I left a bunch of links in the description so you can donate or at least educate yourself about great stories just like this one. Alright, I promise that's it. I'll see you guys next time. I really, really appreciate all the support. Bye bye!